It started with a stupid app. Blind Talk. Some anonymous voice chat thing where you just talk. No pictures, no names, no bios. Just your voice, and whatever nonsense spills out. I downloaded it one night when Andrew was working late again. The house felt cold, quiet, and I was tired of pretending I was fine with it. I didn't want to cheat. God, I wasn't even trying to flirt. I just needed someone who might ask how I was, and actually wait for the answer. And that's when I met him. Voice number 1138. Smooth, calm, low. Not sexy in a movie star way, just warm. Familiar, almost. Weirdly comforting. We talked about nothing at first. Favorite movies, random childhood stories, our mutual hate for laundry. I laughed more in that 20 minutes than I had in weeks. "You sound tired," he said. I froze. Because I was. Bone-deep tired, but I hadn't said that out loud to anyone. Not even Andrew. I almost ended the call right then. But something in his voice held me there. And not in a creepy way, it felt like someone who actually saw me. When I logged off that night, I told myself it didn't matter. Just a random stranger on a throwaway app. But when I climbed into bed next to Andrew, and he didn't even stir, I realized something. That voice made me feel more real in 20 minutes than my husband had in the last 6 months. And here's the crazy part. The voice sounded a little too familiar, like someone I used to know, or maybe still knew. I shook the thought away. No way. That's ridiculous. Right? From the outside, our marriage looked fine. We weren't the couple that screamed or slammed doors. No dramatic fights, no broken dishes, just routines. I made dinner. He worked late. I'd ask how his day was. He'd mumble, "Busy," then disappear into his office for the rest of the night. At first, I told myself it was stress. Tech jobs, deadlines, clients in different time zones. It happens, right? But then he changed his phone password. Not just changed, it guarded it. Kept it face down, brought it to the bathroom, slept with it under his pillow sometimes, like he was hiding state secrets. On Saturdays, he used to sleep in. Now, he grabbed coffee with the guys, went to the gym, or needed air. Always gone for hours. I asked once, half joking, "You seeing someone?" He laughed. "Seriously? Rachel, come on." And I laughed too, because that's what you do. You don't accuse your husband of cheating just because he started using hair gel and cologne again. But I noticed things. The way he flinched when I touched his phone. The way his smile stopped reaching his eyes. The way he stopped touching me altogether. We hadn't been intimate in, I don't even know, a few months? Maybe longer. I'd stopped keeping track because it made me feel pathetic. But deep down, I knew. My gut screamed it. My heart whispered it. He was slipping away from me, and I had no idea why. I kept telling myself I was overthinking it. That marriage has seasons. That maybe I was just bored, lonely, hormonal, whatever excuse helped me sleep at night. But the truth? I was already wide awake. It was a Thursday night. Late. I couldn't sleep again, surprise, surprise, so I opened Blind Talk. I told myself I'd just listen. Just talk. Just hear that voice again. And like always, he was there. Same smooth tone. Same gentle pauses that felt like he was actually listening, not just waiting to speak. "I'm at the office tonight," he said. "Last-minute stuff. You know how it goes." I smiled bitterly to myself. Yeah, I did know how it goes. My own husband was on one of his infamous late nights at the office. What a coincidence. But then, something happened. In the background of the call, barely there, but distinct, I heard a sound. It was small, maybe nothing. Just a faint mechanical hum, followed by a hiss, then 2 soft clicks. But I knew that sound like I knew my own heartbeat. It was our coffee machine. Specifically, the dumb, overpriced Jura machine Andrew insisted on getting for his perfect morning espresso. That exact rhythm of hissing and clicking, no generic machine sounds like that. I froze. Maybe he was using the same model? I asked myself. Lots of people have the same appliances, right? Except we had never talked about brands. Not on this app. Not once. And the timing? He said he was at the office. But that sound came from our kitchen. I didn't say anything at first. My stomach dropped, cold and sharp like I'd swallowed ice water. "Did you hear something?" he asked. What? I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. You went quiet. I'm fine, I lied. We talked a bit more. I don't remember what about. My ears were ringing, my chest tight. I was pretending to be normal while my brain was screaming. I ended the call early, said I was tired. He said, "Sleep well, Rachel." He never used my name before. That was new. And I sat there, staring at the wall, as the pieces began to shift. Not fall apart, not yet, but they moved. And it all made a sick kind of sense. I opened our shared calendar. Yep, Andrew had a team dinner marked down for that evening. Downtown? 7:30 p.m. It was 10:40. Twapham. That call had been made from our house. I texted him. Still at the dinner? No answer. I called. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. The sick thing was, I already knew. That voice, it was him. Masked just enough, altered slightly by tone or mood. But I knew that voice. I'd heard it for 9 years. In the car. In the shower. Whispering "I love you" into my ear on lazy Sunday mornings. How did I not notice sooner? I sat there for a long time. Not crying. Not yelling. Just stunned. Like my whole body was processing a chemical I didn't know I'd swallowed. It wasn't just betrayal. It was betrayal delivered by his own voice. And he had no idea I'd figured it out. Not yet. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't just suspicious anymore. I was sure. After that night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Andrew, staring at the ceiling, listening to his stupid calm breathing. I watched his chest rise and fall like nothing was wrong, like he wasn't living a second life behind a fake voice on a goddamn anonymous chat app. I couldn't just sit with it. I needed proof. Cold, undeniable, digital proof. So, the next morning while he was in the shower, I downloaded another app. A call recorder. Something clean and discreet that could run while Blind Talk was open. If he wanted to play tech games, fine. Game on. That day, I also started taking screenshots of our calls. I logged every timestamp. I saved every audio file in a hidden folder on my laptop labeled Taxes 2021, because even nosy husbands never open tax folders. I was spiraling and calm at the same time. You know that weird mix? Like, outwardly I was folding laundry and making smoothies, but inside I was CIA. By the 3rd day, I noticed something. He didn't always call from our house. Sometimes the voice was clearer, like he was using AirPods, maybe walking. But on 2 nights, the same 2, he claimed to be working late. I heard our dog bark in the background. Our dog, Muffin. Muffin only barks like that at the mail truck, or if someone walks by the living room window. That sound was home. And guess what? Muffin barked during our Blind Talk call. I was this close to confronting him, but no. I needed more. I needed receipts. So I called Claire. Claire is my best friend, and if there's one thing she's better at than skincare routines and ghosting men with weak chins, it's tech. She once tracked down a guy's full legal name from a screenshot of his elbow. I kid you not. When I told her what was happening, she went quiet for a beat. Then, okay, I'm in. We set up a mini-operation. I gave her the call recordings and app logs. She looked into the IP addresses from our home router. And with way too much excitement for someone digging into marital deception, she pinged me the next day. Girl, he's using Blind Talk regularly. Same windows of time. Same device signature. Want me to cross-check voices? Voices? I blinked. Claire had downloaded the app and started chatting with other users, logging their voice profiles using a tool she had from her podcasting days. She built a voice print for Andrew using recordings I'd made, and a few she scraped from his old YouTube workout reviews. He used to be a motivational fitness guy for like 2 months before quitting. Don't ask. Guess what? She said. Out of 40 voices I sampled from his active times, one matches Andrew's with 92% accuracy. 92%. That's a fingerprint in voice print terms. Claire added, and the guy used the phrase "go to espresso machine" twice. Total Andrew move. You've told me he brags about that Jura thing like it's his child. I laughed. A short, sharp, mean laugh. There it was. Not just suspicion. Not just gut feeling. Now I had tech. I had tracking. I had my friend cross-referencing IPs and decoding audio like we were in a spy movie. Andrew wasn't just on Blind Talk. He was one of its regulars. And worse, the voice I'd connected to. The one that made me feel understood, safe, seen. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't random. It was my own husband, playing make-believe with a fake version of me. He didn't just lie. He performed. That's what gutted me the most. He had been using that voice, that kinder, softer, listening version of himself, to talk to me as if I were someone else, as if I wasn't worthy of that version in real life. But online? Anonymously? Suddenly I was worth paying attention to. What the hell was that? Claire asked me. So what's your move? And honestly, I didn't know yet. But one thing was crystal clear now. I wasn't just dealing with a liar. I was dealing with a husband who created a whole different self just to have conversations he wouldn't dare have with me. And that's the kind of betrayal no app could disguise. I stared at my phone for a long time before I did it. Claire had already set up a second account for me on Blind Talk, new email, new name, voice modulation settings tweaked just enough to sound like a real stranger. I chose the username Eliza Wants More. Ironic. I didn't even want more. I just wanted answers. And maybe revenge. Okay, definitely revenge. I practiced my new voice for 2 nights. Slightly breathier, a hint of a southern drawl, and just enough detachment to sound, well, like a woman who didn't give a damn. That, apparently, was his type now. We waited for him to log in. And he did. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Right on schedule. Same IP Claire had flagged before. Probably upstairs in our bedroom, under our duvet, while I was downstairs folding laundry and rage-reading infidelity forums. I tapped, connect. My fake voice filled the line. Hey, you sound familiar. He chuckled. Funny, I was gonna say the same. That voice. It was him. No doubt now. The way he laughs just after he finishes a sentence. The tiny catch in his throat when he's trying to sound calm, but he's excited. I knew that voice better than my own name. So, what brings you on here? I asked. Oh, you know, life gets repetitive. I guess I like talking to someone without history. Without history, huh? Cute. He kept going. You ever feel like nobody really listens? This place is like freedom. You can be whoever you want. Who you want to be. Like a guy who lies to his wife but plays emotional therapist to strangers? I kept up the act. I flirted. I asked him what he liked in a woman. He said he liked confidence. That he loved a woman who could handle herself. Who doesn't need constant reassurance. Funny. He used to say I was too independent. Then he said it. I used to know someone like that. Long time ago. She made me feel like I mattered. I stopped breathing. She still around? I asked, hating myself for needing the answer. He hesitated. No, not really. Not really. I was literally downstairs. We had a mortgage, a dog, matching towels, for God's sake. Married? I asked. Another pause. Yeah, but it's complicated. Oh, honey, you have no idea how complicated it's about to get. We kept talking. He leaned in. He said things. Soft things. Things I hadn't heard in years. And here's the worst part, they weren't even new. He was recycling. He told this stranger me, in disguise the same things he told the real me when we first met. Same tone. Same little lines he used to melt me, like they were lines in a script. My favorite sound, he said, is your laugh. It's like wind chimes at night. That one? That used to make me cry. First time he said it, we were sitting on the floor of our first apartment, eating Chinese food out of boxes. Now, he just dusted it off and handed it to someone new, or so he thought. I felt sick. I ended the call with some excuse about needing to feed my cat or some other fictional creature, then saved the call recording. Marked the time, logged the ID, got the chat log too. I had it. Proof. Actual, recorded proof. Andrew was using this app not just to talk, but to seduce, to role-play, to emotionally cheat in the safest, dirtiest way he could imagine. And he didn't even recognize me. Didn't notice the cadence, the phrasing, the pauses between my words that he used to read like a second language. I could have screamed, right then and there. Instead, I sat back on the couch, stared at the ceiling, and thought, if he wants freedom so badly, I'll give it to him. wrapped in legal paperwork. Because now I wasn't guessing anymore. Now I was certain. Now I had him. And he had no idea what was coming next. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab his phone, throw it across the kitchen, watch it hit the backsplash and shatter like the last remaining shred of trust I had left. But I didn't. I sat there, calm, composed, rage cooling into something colder. A plan. That's the thing about betrayal. The first time, it breaks you. The second time, it sharpens you. So I did what any woman with a shred of self-respect and a decent internet connection would do. I played the long game. I made dinner. I smiled. I asked him how work was. Fine, he said. Same old. Of course it was. At night, we watched Netflix together. I even laughed at one of his dumb jokes. He looked relieved. Maybe he thought things were getting better. Poor guy. Because while I was handing him a beer on the couch, I was also texting Claire. Keep logging. He's still active. And he was. Every other night, like clockwork, Eliza once more would log on. And so would he. Same smooth voice. Same half-truths. Same fake freedom. I kept the tone light, casual, curious. I let him lead. He liked that. So, mystery man, I said one night, you're married, but you don't sound all that taken. He laughed. It's complicated. Again with that. How long you been married? I asked. 9 years. Exact. No hesitation. I kept going. So why are you here then? I mean, really? He paused. Sometimes, he said, you just need to talk to someone who doesn't know every version of you. Someone who doesn't look at you with expectations. Wow. So that's what I was now? An expectation machine? Have you ever met anyone from here? I asked, casually dropping it like a stone in a pond. Another pause. A shift in tone. Once, he said, but it wasn't serious. My stomach turned. I wanted to scream. With who? But I couldn't break character. So I said, did you kiss her? A beat. Yes, he whispered. There it was. Not just flirtation, not just some anonymous emotional mess. An actual, physical betrayal. A line crossed. A mouth kissed. A choice made. He kept talking. It didn't mean anything, he said. We met, we talked, we kissed. That's all. Oh, I see. Just a kiss. Just a meeting. Just cheating in miniature. Like betrayal in snack size. I wanted to vomit. Instead, I leaned deeper into the persona. And your wife? I asked. She know? He laughed softly. God, no. She'd lose it. He had no idea he was talking to me. The very woman he was describing as some rigid, high-strung presence in his life. Is she nice? I asked. She used to be. Used to be. That one cut. Funny how they always forget who they made you become. I ended the chat soon after. Saved the recording. Labeled the file. He kissed her. Back in the real world, I sat across from him at dinner and watched him eat spaghetti like he hadn't just confessed to another woman that he'd kissed someone behind my back. He made a joke about his day. I smiled. Topped off his wine. It was surreal. Like watching a show from inside the TV. He had no clue I knew. No idea he was sleeping next to a woman who'd already started detaching, one thought at a time. I still wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. But I was getting closer. Because now I knew it wasn't just online fantasy. It was real. And I was done pretending everything was fine, even if he wasn't. It was time. After weeks of acting, recording, smiling through clenched teeth, and sleeping beside a man who didn't realize the person tearing him apart online was also the one folding his laundry, I was done. So I planned it. Eliza, the flirty stranger he'd been pouring his heart and secrets into, suggested a meeting. Neutral territory. Public. Casual. A little coffee shop downtown, he once called. His quiet spot. The irony was too good. He hesitated at first. Said he wasn't sure that was smart. That he wasn't looking to ruin anything. That his situation was delicate. But temptation won. It always does. He agreed. Saturday, 11 a.m., corner booth. I got there early. wore sunglasses and a coat with a high collar, sat in the far corner with a view of the door. My hands were shaking. I didn't even know what I was going to say. All I knew was I had to see his face when he realized. I watched the clock tick. 10, 50, 7, 10, 50, 9. And then he walked in, smiling, dressed way too sharp for coffee, collared shirt, new jacket. He'd shaved. He scanned the cafe, casually, like a man expecting something exciting and a little dangerous. And then his eyes found mine. I took off the sunglasses. Slowly. His whole body froze. It was subtle, a blink, a twitch at the jaw, but I saw the color drain from his face like someone hit a switch. I didn't move. I just stared. For a second, I thought he might run. But no. He came over, slow, measured, like walking into traffic. "Rachel," he said, soft, almost hopeful. "What? What is this?" I tilted my head. "You tell me." He opened his mouth, closed it, looked around the cafe like maybe someone would explain this for him. "You met someone here today, right?" I asked, voice low. "Someone named Eliza?" Nothing, just a twitch at the corner of his eye. "I knew your voice the second you picked up," I said. "But you didn't know mine. That part? That really stung." Still, he said nothing. I waited. Finally, he sat down. Didn't touch the menu. Didn't blink. "It wasn't what you think," he said. That line. I almost laughed. Really? So I didn't spend the last month listening to my husband emotionally cheat on me, kiss a stranger, and act like he was a prisoner in our marriage? "It was just talk," he said quickly. "You don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly. You didn't want a divorce. You wanted dessert." He exhaled through his nose. "You don't get it, Rachel. I was. Lonely." I stared at him. "You were lonely?" I repeated. "I was right there. Every night, every weekend, cooking, listening, trying. And you were what, role-playing as a better version of yourself for a woman you already had?" He didn't answer. "I just needed something that felt new," he muttered. "Fresh." I wanted to flip the table. Instead, I leaned forward. "So instead of talking to your wife like a human being, you downloaded a voice app and seduced her anonymously?" He actually had the nerve to look offended. "I didn't know it was you," he snapped. "Exactly." We sat in silence. Around us, people sipped lattes, typed on laptops, existed in blissful ignorance. He rubbed his face. "It was just an outlet, a way to cope. It wasn't about you." That's when it hit me. It wasn't. It really, truly wasn't. None of it was personal. None of it was about us. It was about him needing someone to listen without consequences, needing validation without commitment, needing freedom while I did the heavy lifting of our shared life. I stood up. "I've got everything," I said. "Recordings, logs. Claire traced the IPs. You think you're the tech guy in this house? Think again." He looked like he might cry. Good. I left him sitting there. No dramatic goodbye. No, "We'll talk later." Just me, walking out into daylight, heart shattered, spine straight, because I didn't need to yell anymore. I didn't need to prove I was right. I was right. And he? He'd just been caught in his own game by the woman he underestimated most. The next morning, I packed a bag and walked out. No speeches, no tearful final breakfast. Just toothbrush, laptop, chargers, a week's worth of clothes, and every document I might need in case he suddenly got forgetful. I didn't slam the door. I didn't need to. My silence was loud enough. Claire was waiting for me outside her apartment with an extra key and 2 iced coffees. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded, but the answer was no. I wasn't okay. I was humiliated. I was gutted. I was furious. But more than anything, I was done. That same afternoon, I sat across from a divorce attorney who came highly recommended and wore glasses like she meant business. Her name was Linda, and from the second she shook my hand, I felt like I had a weapon in my corner. "I want out," I said. "Clean. Fast. No drama if I can help it." She nodded. "He cheated?" I slid my phone across the desk. The recordings. The screenshots. The spreadsheet Claire had made logging timestamps and IP addresses like she was presenting to the Pentagon. Linda didn't even flinch. I've seen worse, she said, clicking through the files. But this is airtight. She got to work immediately. I spent the next few days like a woman on a mission. I pulled my name off the joint credit card. I opened a new checking account. I had the utilities separated and the streaming services changed. I logged out of our shared Netflix like it was a personal act of rebellion. I moved strategically, with military precision. I took all the essentials, my grandmother's jewelry, my tax forms, my journals, and every bit of digital evidence I'd spent weeks collecting. Everything else, he could keep. Let him have the couch we picked out together while pretending we were still a team. Let him sit on it alone. Andrew, for his part, spiraled. The text started first. Where are you? Can we talk? Please don't do anything rash. Then came the calls. I didn't answer. Then came the guilt bombs. You never gave me a chance to explain. It was a mistake. I didn't know it was you, maybe? That means something? I'll delete the app. I swear. I'll stop. Oh, now you'll stop? How convenient. What he didn't understand, what he couldn't understand, was that I wasn't doing this out of spite. I wasn't trying to punish him. This wasn't revenge. It was self-respect. Finally, fully, painfully earned. And every time he called, I felt more grounded in my decision. He even sent flowers. Big ones. Peonies and roses, my favorites. With a card that said, "We can start over." I left them on the curb. Claire came with me one night to grab the last box from the house. She watched as I walked from room to room, just to make sure I hadn't forgotten anything. Feels weird, huh? She asked. Like I'm walking through a set, I said. Like none of this was ever real. In the bedroom, I stared at our bed, perfectly made, of course, the way he liked it. Funny, all those years I thought I was building a life with someone. Turns out I was just a character in his little fantasy. Now I was writing my own story, finally. And no amount of guilt or roses or promises could make me rewrite the ending. It was a Tuesday when he finally told the truth. He texted me again, begging for a conversation. I ignored it. He tried calling Claire. She blocked him. Then one night, he showed up outside Claire's building. Not yelling, not crying, just waiting. And Claire, bless her, called me first. He's here, she said. Do you want me to tell him to leave, or do you want 5 minutes to finish it for good? I didn't know what I wanted, but I went downstairs anyway. He looked awful, pale, unshaven, still trying to wear the same confident face, but it cracked around the edges. Please, he said, hands in his jacket pockets. I just want to say some things. I'm not trying to change your mind. You deserve the full picture. I nodded. Then talk. He shifted his weight, looked anywhere but at me. There were others, he said finally. Not just the voice stuff. Not just Eliza. There were real people. I felt nothing. No gasp. No tears. I just stared. How many? I don't know, he said too fast. It wasn't like that. They weren't relationships. Just moments. Meetings. I'd go on the app, talk to someone. Sometimes we'd meet for a drink. Nothing ever lasted. Did you sleep with them? His silence answered that one. I nodded slowly. And you still don't think that's cheating? He looked frustrated. Of course it was. I didn't go looking to blow up our life. I didn't want a divorce. That stopped me cold. You didn't want a divorce? You cheated on your wife with God knows how many strangers, physically, emotionally, repeatedly, and you didn't want a divorce? He ran a hand through his hair. I was looking for something else. Something outside. Something that didn't come with all the pressure, the expectations, the weight of everything. There it was. The real answer. Not about me. Not really. Not about what I lacked. Not about what I did or didn't do. It was about him. He wanted the perks of connection without the work. The thrill of something new without the vulnerability. He wanted convenience, validation, a life curated on his terms. I was messy. I was flawed. I was real. And that was too much. You don't even know what you were chasing, I said. He looked at me then. Maybe not, but none of it meant anything. And that's when it hit me. To him, it didn't. To him, those nights, the drinks, the flirting, the secrets, the kisses were just blips, distractions. Disposable. But I wasn't disposable. And I finally realized I didn't want to be with someone who thought love was just a temporary fix for boredom. I wanted depth. I wanted effort. I wanted someone who knew that life gets messy and still chose to stay, to dig in, to be present. He didn't cheat because I wasn't enough. He cheated because he never knew how to be all in. And I was always all in. That was the problem. You didn't want a divorce, I said. You just didn't want to feel anything real. His eyes welled up. Reach. No, don't. I stepped back. I'm not here to be your lesson. I'm not your turning point or your rock bottom. I'm not staying so you can figure yourself out. He tried one last time. I still love you. And maybe he did. But he loved me in a way that left me alone. In a way that lied and lied until I had to become someone else just to be heard. I loved him in a way that deserved truth. And I was done pretending anything less was okay. I don't love you like this, I said. And then I turned around and didn't look back. The divorce was finalized on a Wednesday. It was anticlimactic, really. Just some papers, a few signatures, a polite nod from the lawyer, and that was it. 9 years of marriage, reduced to a neat stack of documents and a confirmation email titled, Final Decree of Dissolution. I stared at the subject line for a full minute. Then I deleted it. Not out of rage, but because I didn't need it anymore. Andrew didn't fight me on anything. Maybe he was ashamed. Maybe he knew there was nothing left to salvage. Or maybe he just wanted to move on as quickly as I did. Either way, it was done. I moved into a small apartment on the edge of town. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, one for me, one that became a plant room, because apparently healing involves a lot of overpriced greenery. I started seeing a therapist. Her name was Jordan. She asked hard questions and didn't flinch when I told her I'd catfished my husband to expose his double life. She said, that wasn't about revenge. That was about clarity. Damn right it was. I cried in her office. I laughed. I unraveled pieces of myself I didn't even realize had knotted up years ago. I also started running. Not far, not fast, but enough to feel my breath again. Enough to remind myself that I had a body, not just a mind full of doubts and a heart full of bruises. I began building a life around truth. Not perfection, just honesty. And little by little, it started to feel like mine. One night, a few months after the papers were signed, I re-downloaded Blind Talk. Not for closure. Not for spite. Just curiosity. A weird sense of wanting to walk through the same door again, this time with my eyes open. I logged in. New name. No voice mask. Just me. My real voice. No filters. I talked to a few people. Some were sweet. Some were boring. One guy asked if I liked pineapple on pizza, and I almost deleted the app right there. Then one night, I connected with someone who didn't try too hard. He didn't flirt right away. Didn't push. He just listened. He had this voice, not smooth, not perfect, but real, unpolished, human. We talked about everything and nothing. He told me about his rescue dog. I told him about killing my first houseplant. We laughed. At one point, he said, "You sound peaceful." I smiled into the darkness of my living room. "I guess I am," I said. And it was true. Not because I'd found someone new. Not because I'd rewritten the past. But because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting to be chosen. I'd already chosen myself. The silence after that call wasn't empty. It was full. Alive. And for the first time in forever, I felt like I could breathe.